So it will be 4 minutes until the stream. If you are watching this live, please let me know how the audio levels are. We're going to be going straight out of the camera audio today. When I upload the full version, that will be in, hopefully, fingers crossed, 4K with a better microphone. But for now, bear with me. We're going to be using on-camera audio. Hello and good evening, or good morning, depending on where you are. It is 10 p.m. here in Australia. And we should be in business. So please, a shout out in the chat. Let me know how the audio levels are. They should be pretty good actually. The camera will auto level all the sound. So, I mean, maybe that'll be terrible, but it should be all working. Now, fingers crossed that the camera does not overheat recording 4K video. We're using the A6500 today. And of course, a HDMI live feed as brought to you by my lovely Patreon subscribers who have made it possible for me to get all this fancy equipment. All right. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for letting me know that the audio is good. We are going to be able to switch over to the video now in 3, 2, 1, bang. Boom. How are we looking, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing? Wow, from CERN. Now that is very, very cool. Now, if any of you have played the game Steins Gate, you will know that CERN is a very, very secretive laboratory. Okay, so I'm gonna stick around for another 2 minutes before we open this box, just so that we have just so that no one comes late. But we will open this momentarily. So the feed you should be seeing now will be 1080p. Actually, no. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so just a test, are you able to see the video at this point in time? Because right now, I cannot see my own preview. I've got 1 minute to go. Let's make sure this is working. Because if this is working, yes, it's working. It's just my thing being right. Now, in answer to your question, Timothy, we will not be able to stream this in 4K because A, I do not have a recorder that can support that, and B, I am still on a very slow 2 megabit upload connection. So this in itself, for this to be working, is a miracle. It's a miracle in itself that any of this is working. I will be soon upgraded. Our neighborhood is being upgraded to the national broadband network, where we'll have a 100 megabit download, 40 megabit upload speed. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Really excited about that because in that, under those conditions, I could potentially stream 4K if I get a new recorder. Okay. All right, so how are we doing for time? It is 10 o'clock. So let's get this nice and oriented and we can start. Welcome everyone to today's unboxing of the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, the new professional tablet from Apple. I just bought this afternoon. I've been itching to unbox it the whole night. We're also going to be doing some brief comparisons with my trusty. You can see how much I use it because of all the fingerprints and the various chips and dents on the back of the unit. But we're going to do a comparison, a brief comparison, physical comparison with my 9.7-inch iPad Pro. I don't know if we're going to be able to go through the whole setup up to, installing apps and demonstrating that kind of thing. Because, that will obviously take a bit of time. But if you're willing to stick around, let me know in the comments. Yes, this is a live unboxing, so there is a live chat. drop a line if you are watching this live, and I'll be able to respond to your comments. And if there's anything specifically that you want to see about this iPad, let me know and I'll show it to you. But let's get this show on the road. Let's clear some space. Now, as I said before, if you're watching this live, this is coming straight out of the on-camera microphone, but the final version that I'll upload after this will be in 4K. 4K with a proper microphone, or maybe not, because I haven't actually pressed the record button on the microphone. Let's do that now. Okay. I haven't even pressed the record button on the camera. Okay, bear with me. Okay, bear with me now. That was a bit of a silly thing to do. What I'm gonna actually do, now you all saw it here, right? I took the shrink wrap off this, so this is a real new unit, but I'm gonna start the intro again just because we actually need to have the camera recording to actually record video. Let's start that again. But you watching this live stream right now will know the secret that we have in fact unshrink wrapped this. So 1, 2, 3. Where's the Sony button? There. Okay. 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 Hello and welcome to today's unboxing of the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, the new professional tablet from Apple. So we're going to be unboxing this tablet. I bought it this afternoon. I've actually just taken off the shrink wrap. Those of you watching on the live chat have actually just seen this, but due to a technical mishap, we're kind of doing a do-over at this point, but I guarantee you this is a new unit. We're also going to be doing some brief comparisons with my trusty 9.7-inch iPad Pro right here. We're probably not going to be able to get as far as the actual setup of all the apps and everything unless you guys in the live stream are willing to just sit around for 20 to 30 minutes while this iPad Pro restores from backup. But if you are watching this live, there is a live chat. I'll be able to respond to any of your questions and comments. And I will do my best to answer any quick questions you have about my first impressions of this device. But let's get this open. So we've got the shrink wrap already. So let's just kind of get this nice vacuum seal unsealed. Oh boy, come on. You know, they make these so tight fitting that it's actually sort of like a sarcophagus. How is everyone doing, by the way, tonight? We got some people from Switzerland, from Australia, from the UK, all here to watch me fiddle around with this packaging, and I actually don't have an excuse this time. Normally my excuse is the camera is right in front of my face, but today we're doing this from overhead, so. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it's just like a black slate, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we have our card here, designed by Apple in California. We have our 12 watt, I believe 12 watts power adapter. That's right, 12 watt power adapter. Now, if you ever try to charge an iPad from an iPhone power adapter, you'll know that it takes several hours if it even works at all. So you definitely want that. Then we got another lightning cable, and that's it actually. So, you know, there is actually a fair amount of volume of this box, which is just this insert here. Hopefully it's all recyclable. I believe it is. So, well, that was a pretty easy unboxing, I gotta say, apart from that initial issue of getting the box open. I have actually also got here the smart keyboard. I actually already opened this up because I don't think it's the most interesting thing in the world to unbox the keyboard. But I don't know, let me know in the comments if you had wanted to see me unbox the keyboard as well. Mea culpa. So, let's open this packaging. And we got this here. And again, if you're watching this in the live chat, if you have any questions that jump to mind about the iPad, I'll do my best, though the chat does scroll at a certain speed, so forgive me if I miss your message. But here is the device. Let's see if it's got a bit of a charge. Otherwise, we're just gonna look at a big black obelisk. There we go. I went with a space gray color this time because as much as I like my rose gold iPad, which I have here, my 9.7 inch iPad Pro, I was always a little annoyed about the color matching between the 9.7, the rose gold, and this smart keyboard. And as you can see here, you know, this is a well-loved iPad, a fair few dents. So let's flip this open, and I just want to give you a comparison of the screen sizes right off the bat. Also visionary, just says Lachlan literally didn't buy a screen protector in advance. I do not buy screen protectors for iPads. I do not believe it is important to buy a screen protector for an iPad or an iPhone or any new modern smartphone, because all these devices use chemically hardened glass, and it is not possible to scratch this kind of this chemical hardened glass without a material that is harder than this glass. And the only materials that are harder than this kind of glass is usually sapphire or diamond. And I'm afraid I don't have the luxury of having a variety of diamond and sapphire objects lying around to scratch these in my bags and my pockets. Maybe you might be in a different situation, in which case you maybe want to get a screen protector. I don't think that they're necessary. I actually think that they're somewhat of a waste of a beautiful screen. But you can see here, now obviously the bezel colors are different, but hopefully you can see that the dimensions of this device are slightly different. You can see that the 10.5 inch is actually slightly longer and perhaps slightly wider. So it's extended in all dimensions, but not by a great deal. Probably what's made the biggest difference to allow this big screen size is the very significant shrinking of the bezels here. So you can see that. Big difference in the bezels, really quite nice. That's actually one of the big reasons why I decided to upgrade. Now, just looking at the specs alone, I don't necessarily think that every 9.7 inch iPad owner should automatically upgrade to a 10.5 inch. I'm very fortunate in the position where once I sell this iPad, the ad revenue I get from interest in the 10.5 inch iPad, totally honest, totally putting that out there, but by making these videos, it will pay for the difference between these two devices after resale value, after selling this device. So obviously, you know, I'm not rolling in it from the YouTube monies, but it is enough for me to make buying this kind of thing a sort of no-brainer. So let's check in with the chat to see how you guys are all going. Okay. Enrico asks, does the small bezel mean that your hand will cover part of the screen just by holding it? Well, that's a very good question and something that we can definitely answer without setting it up. So you can see here, this is sort of a comfortable position for my thumbs. So that's how I would usually hold it. Now, the edge of my thumbs is touching the screen slightly, so it will be interesting to see if there is some kind of thumb rejection so that doesn't necessarily trigger anything. But definitely there's plenty of room on the sides to hold it like this, but I don't know what will happen holding it by this edge, whether or not that will touch the screen. So that's a good question. And that's something I'm gonna be able to answer once I've got a bit more experience with this iPad. let's see how far we can get in the setup before I have to give away any sort of personally identifiable information. Okay, here's something really, really noticeable that I've just noticed, and this will probably not turn up on the camera, but I'm just gonna make a note of it. The scrolling performance of this iPad is better than the 9.7 inch. I can see that because usually when I scroll through a list of text like this on the 9.7 inch, there's a bit of a jelly kind of effect. I don't know if it's the LCD pixel response time that causes that, or it's the refresh rate, but I do know that the new 10.5 inch iPad Pros have a 120 Hertz dynamic refresh rate screen, so that may be the reason. I'm probably not going to be able to show you the effect of this on camera, but believe me, it feels noticeable when I use it, just based on my experience with the 9.7 inch. Again, it's not a huge difference. I never thought that this was a bad display on this, but that is one thing that I noticed almost immediately. So let's get as far as we can in the setup. All right, so we're going to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and obviously I will not show you all my Wi-Fi password. Great. Okay, so it says it's going to take a few minutes to activate. What I'll probably do is I'll sign in without signing in to iTunes, because that will take a fair bit longer. I'll do that after this video. My plan is, after this video, I want to do a video to answer the question, I'm curious myself, whether or not it will be possible to edit 4K video on this 10.5 inch iPad Pro. It sounds a bit crazy to me, but I'm curious as to whether that is possible or not, because amusingly enough, I'm gonna have to send my iMac in for repair because it now crashes every single time I try to render the 4K video. Trying to work out what's going on there. I also want to do a video about the keyboards, a comparison between the 9.7 inch and the 10.5 inch smart keyboard. Let me know in the comments if there is anything else that you'd like me to do a video on in regards to this. So a passcode. Let's go with the craziest passcode option. Don't add a passcode. I'm surprised. Let's see what the warning message it gives you if you try to do that. Are you sure you don't want to use a passcode? A passcode secures your iPad. Nag, nag, nag. Okay. Set up as a new iPad, blah, blah, blah. So, set up as a new iPad. Don't have an Apple ID. Set up later. Don't use. Okay. Terms and condition. Agree. Sign away the soul. Don't share. Don't share. True tone display. I actually would prefer the true tone display. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, the True Tone display is really quite amazing because it adjusts the color temperature of the display based on the color temperature of the lighting that that is in your environment. So it makes it really easy on the eyes. That combined with the night shift option on the iOS operating system means that you can stay up late reading manga on this. Basically, is what I do with it. So yes, Adam says the 9.7 inch looks small side by side. And you know what? Look, it's honestly, on paper, it's not a huge difference. I believe that it is a 1 inch difference in diagonal size between the 9.7 and the, well, obviously it's not, it's 0.8 inches because 9.7 to 10.5, but it's a subtle difference, but at the same time it does make the screen feel a little more immersive. And I gotta say that the screen, there's a little more just straight off the top of my head, just my impressions of this screen. Number one, the maximum brightness on this screen is way higher. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it's very noticeable to me in person. The brightness on the screen is quite a bit higher on the new 10.5 inch, which is really nice. The screen also feels more, I don't know how to put it, it just feels more punchy. And it might have something to do with the wider color gamut of the new screen. So the new 10.5 inch iPad Pro uses a wider color gamut. But yeah, so I think that's as far as I'm going to be able to get. Please let me know if there is anything else that you would like to see specifically about this. As I said before, I'm going to be making a few more videos about this. I got the cellular version because I really, I love cellular on the 9.7 inch iPad Pro, but the other thing is that iOS is built in such a way that if you don't have cellular and you just use Wi-Fi tethering, the iPad treats a Wi-Fi connection as a full fat internet connection, even if there's just an internet tether. So it will just auto download things in the background and chew up your battery and your internet data and everything like that. It's horrible. So I really do recommend, if you are looking to get one of this, really consider the cellular option. It makes quite a big difference. So Avexian asks, how's the camera? So this is something else that I've been excited about. The camera module on the 10.5 inch iPad Pro, from what I've read, is actually the same as the camera module from the iPhone 7. So that means, don't know, there we go. You can see some of the stuff that's hiding away here. You can see my Dreamcast there. Who remembers the Sega Dreamcast? I don't know if you can even see that on the display right now. There we go. That means that it is the same camera module as the iPhone 7. There is optical image stabilization, and it shoots 4K videos. So I'm gonna be excited to be walking around like a crazy person holding this up to my face and recording things. I've actually seen on the streets people walking around with iPads, shooting video with iPads with these brackets that hang out the side. I've always thought it looks crazy, but I can imagine it would make for relatively stable video compared to a small phone. So that's kind of cool. Adam Nelson says, Sega, you mean Sega? Well, actually, yeah, the correct pronunciation would probably be Sega. In Australia, we say Sega. Sega, yeah. Yeah, we say Sega in Australia, but it's should be Sega, I believe. There you go. Now, are there any other questions you may have about this shiny new device before I start the restore process? Ricky Yip asks, it's a bigger screen, but still only 4 apps per row by default? Yes. Yes, it is very funny. This entire row here of empty space. It honestly looks even stranger on a oh no, it just, the default does not fill in the last row. That's very curious. But yeah, no, okay. So you can fill it all up. But yeah, there's still a lot of empty space between the columns. I don't know if that will change in iOS 11. I know that the dock is sort of moving up closer to here, and it looks more like the Mac OS X dock. So it's going to be multiple apps and more like an app switcher. Sort of looking forward to that. Sort of looking forward to the more fleshed out multitasking. What I really hope that is going to be possible, I don't know if they changed this for iOS 11, but this is the split screen multitasking on the iOS 10. I have always hated this interface, and the reason why I hate this interface is because when picking out an app, there is no search bar at the top to look at your recently opened apps, and that's a really obvious oversight. There absolutely should be a search bar, because otherwise you have to flick through your entire list of apps to find something, and it's very silly. I don't understand why this wasn't launched with a search bar at the top. I don't know if that's changed in iOS 11, but if you're watching this and that isn't changed and you work for Apple, please take that under advisement. Let's see how we're going in the chat. Do I have, Hugo asks, do you have an iPad 12.9 inch to compare with the new iPad Pro? I do not. The funny thing is that I actually used to have a 12.9 inch iPad Pro, which I sold in favor of the 9.7 inch. And the reason why I did that was because the 12.9 inch was very nice, very large display. I initially bought it with the intention of doing a lot of sketching on it. I actually found that I used it more as a regular consumption device. And as a result, I switched it over to the 9.7. And then when I had the 9.7, I thought, I wish the display was just that little bit bigger. So, you can imagine my delight when they decided to launch a 10.5 inch. In terms of like professional content creation, I would really love to actually use this device to do things like edit video and that sort of thing. And again, I'm really looking forward to the multitasking in iOS 11. I'm really curious to see if I can actually edit a 4K video on this tablet. But I actually primarily used this 9.7 as a consumption device, and for that price, it obviously is a lot of money to be spending. To be quite honest, if they made the new iPad, not the Pro, the new iPad with the same quad speaker setup, with the same brilliant display, but without the pencil and without the keyboard support, I'd be all right with that. Honestly, I'd be all right with that. But now that I've put down the cash for this machine, I'm really kind of keen to see what I can do on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cap off the video. I'll stick around and I'll just have a casual chat with you guys in the live chat, but I'm just going to do a goodbye just to be able to have that on camera in case the marvelous A6500 overheats shooting this 4K video. Yep. But let's do that and then I'll get right back into the chat. I hope you guys are having fun. All right, well, that's it for today's unboxing. Now I'm gonna take this and set it up properly, and then we're gonna be able to do some more videos with some comparisons between these two devices. Again, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to make a video about what it's like editing video on this 10.5 inch iPad Pro. I also wanna do a video comparing the keyboards between these two devices, and let me know in the comments if there's any other sort of video comparison that you'd like me to do, or any questions you'd like me to answer. I'm very kind of keen to answer those questions, and if you want to see those future videos, subscribe to this channel, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and see ya! Brilliant! Okay, so now we are in the informal section. So at this point, I'm gonna ask, what's this? What's on my iPad thing? You guys keep asking me. Are you asking me to go through what's on my iPad? Because there's highly sensitive personal information on this, and I don't believe that it is advisable for me to do that. But I'll show you some stuff. I'm just gonna stop the recording for now. Bang. All right. How did we go for time there? What time is it now? It's 10:26. Okay. So we're probably going to be able to edit that down. How far do you guys think I can edit it down? Adam Peters says that there's hentai on this iPad. There is not hentai on this iPad, but you'll be surprised at what makes it into some of these apps. You know what? Today I did a search for totally innocent reasons. I swear to you, totally innocent reasons. I wanted to see that YouTube video. What am I doing on this old iPad of mine? I should be. Why am I putting this new iPad out? But I was looking up the phrase Japanese idols on YouTube, and there is a lot of stuff that should not be on YouTube, as far as I can tell, with that search term. So you know. But let's see, what can I show you apart from this brilliant desktop background by an artist who I do not know the name of, but isn't that cool? That's so cool. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to take my reading list out of your vision. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is not the best idea to show you any manga on this video, but this is a live stream, so I guess no one will ever see this again. Let's see. And I only say this because of the copyright concern of live broadcasting anything, any sort of material like this. But this is the Crunchyroll manga app. Let's see what's good. What have we got here? Okay. So I've been reading Real Life. This is the Crunchyroll app, which doesn't have the best manga selection. Real Life Inside Mari is actually really creepy. It's by the same person who did. Actually, I don't want to pick a random chapter because I'm going to pick a random chapter and it's going to be really terrible. But it's the guy who did Aku no Hana. So yeah, that one's a bit dark. Let's do a silent voice. Shout out in the chat if you watched a silent voice and how you felt about it. I actually thought of doing a video about a silent voice. So why I say this iPad is such a great manga reader, you can see that the display of an iPad is about the same size as a larger paper publication. So you get this brilliant detail on the display. It's just really nice for reading comics with. I just love it to read manga, and it's just the right sort of size, and it's got great battery life, and again that color shifting display is really wonderful. Yeah, Vincent's seen a silent voice. I saw it. I didn't quite like it as much as, say, Kimi no Nawa, but it's still good. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. When I obviously the 9.7 will lag slightly because I'm using a fully loaded iPad versus a newly set up one. But I don't know how to describe this apart from using a relatively technical kind of thing. So if you've ever compared shooting video with a 1/50th shutter speed, so 50 frames a second, 50 opening and closings of the shutter a second compared to 1/100th, you can see that there's less motion blur in animation when you do that, and it almost feels a little unnatural. And that's exactly the same feeling that I'm getting when I compare the scrolling performance of these two iPads. When I scroll here on this one, I can feel it perceptually. I mean, it's not really obvious, but I can feel a sort of blur as the app icons move around. With this one, my brain can actually see that the app icons are still fairly well defined even when they are in motion. And that's sort of crazy. This display is phenomenal, like compared to this one. And this was always, I thought, a really good display, but the punchiness of this is just amazing, I have to say. Again, one of the other reasons why I think the iPads are so great and why I'd love to see if I can edit video on this is the displays are really color accurate, which is cool. So Visionary asks, good question. Actually, let's put this on camera because this is sort of a good question that I'd love to have on camera. So Visionary asks, can you underclock the display for battery saving? So as I understand it, the 120 Hertz refresh rate of the iPad 10.5-inch display is dynamic. And that is to say that the refresh rate goes down when there is no motion on the screen, and then it increases dynamically depending on the content being displayed. So there's no need to underclock the display. It underclocks automatically. Now, obviously, there's being an Apple device, there's probably going to be no way of actually setting an upper limit on what the display will ramp up to. I believe the idea is that and here's the Apple Pencil, which I have neglected to mention until now, but let's pair it. No, okay, maybe I have to plug it in a bit longer. I haven't charged this in a long time, so it's possible that the battery is completely flat. Let's see if this pairs. But yeah, the refresh rate on the new iPad is completely dynamic, so it will not drain your battery away refreshing 120 times a second on a static screen. At least that's what it shouldn't do anyway. So the idea partially behind the 120 Hertz display, I believe, was to decrease the perceptual, or not the perceived, but the actual latency of using the pencil on the display. Now, I can't really comment. That's a good question. That's a good idea for a video. I might do a video about a comparison of sketching on this new display. So that is a good point. All right. So, Milo says, did you see the benchmarks for the 10.5? It's insane. Yeah, the benchmarks are rather insane, but high performance or not, it doesn't matter how fast the device is if you can't actually do much productive work on it because you're hamstrung by the operating system. I got the 9.7 inch with the idea that it would be possible to do, well, I got the 12.9 inch, I should say, with the idea that it would be possible to do really quick and dirty video edits on the 9.7 inch. Now, I can't say that there wasn't enough power to do that, but I always felt that it was a little finicky dealing with the operating system in terms of file management, in terms of a whole bunch of things. So I never got very far in doing that. So I am keen to see when iOS 11 launches in a few months' time what that is like. You know, I read the Verge review today, the review from The Verge, which said that you should probably wait around before you buy one of these because there's not that much more you can do on it right now compared to the 9.7 inch. I probably agree with that. I'm in the funny situation where it's probably better off for me to buy these kind of things early rather than later, because if I buy them later and I make videos, there's already going to be a lot of videos out and about this iPad, so So the demand will have met the supply in terms of information out there. So that's why I want to get in there early, make the videos, sell this old iPad before it depreciates any further, and then I should just be able to break even on this significant purchase. And I say when you get a 256 gigabyte Wi-Fi plus cellular iPad plus the keyboard, it will cost you the price of a MacBook, basically. So these things aren't cheap. So fingers crossed, and thank you again to everyone who supports the channel. That's really sort of helpful for me to be able to make these kind of decisions with relative confidence. So Milo says the fingerprint sensor is the same speed as the iPhone 7. Yes, I believe that is the case. It is the same fingerprint module, a very fast fingerprint reader. I haven't tried it. Probably show you in another video. One thing is surprising is that it is still a physical button as well. So there is definitely a real click here. Yeah, I think it's a real physical button compared to the 9.7. So compared to the new iPads, the new iPhones where there's no physical touch ID button anymore, it's still nice to have that clicky button, though it does mean that you can get dust in and around the circumference. Anyway, I'm gonna have to take off for the night, so I'm really glad that you were able to join me for this unboxing. I'm gonna get this all set up, and I will see you guys later. Ooh, 等一陣。
我想唔想得你？
未得。
想唔都唔得。
No, absolutely not. Never.
講都唔得，死仔。